evening and welcome to another edition of Coffee with Tea. I'm your host, the amazing T Street. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I'm doing a special edition of Coffee with Tea from a request from a friend. Yesterday, our school district in my city announced that we were going to be all virtual for the first quarter of the school year, for the time being, at least the first quarter. And one of my friends reached out to me and she was super frustrated, not because she doesn't think it's the right idea. She believes that it's the right idea. She's just a little stuck because unfortunately, unlike the spring, she has had to return to work and doesn't have childcare options. And so she said, I know it's the right decision. I'm just really angry, not at the district, just angry because I just don't have the solutions that I need. And so she asked me if that would be the topic that I talked about tonight. What can we do in this season when we are feeling so many different emotions, as parents prepare, as teachers prepare, as administrators prepare, as communities prepare for the beginning of school? Normally, we'd all be getting ready to have back to school supply drives. Parents would be shopping for backpacks and school clothes and all those things. And principals would be preparing to go prepare their buildings. Teachers would be beginning to come in and do bulletin boards and schedule lesson plans and really just start to think about what the school year is going to be. And kids would be both lamenting and celebrating a little bit. The end of summer is the lamenting, and celebrating is going back to a routine that they love, which is really being with their friends. And unfortunately, this is a different kind of school year. And so I told her that I would tackle this topic tonight about some things that all of us can do, whether we have children in schools or not. All of us have a role that we can play. We don't have to play it, but we certainly can choose to. And I'm hoping that everyone who listens to my video blog will choose to do something. And so I wanted to open with a quote tonight that says, "Defeat should not be the source of discouragement, but a stimulus to keep plotting." That's a quote by the late Shirley Chisholm, my soror and former congresswoman and the first African-American woman to run for the presidency on a major ticket. And so I want to start with that premise tonight. Defeat should not be the source of discouragement, but a stimulus to keep plotting. So tonight I want to encourage everybody to be plotting your next move. If you were playing the game of chess, COVID would be your opponent, and COVID keeps throwing curveballs. Whether it's COVID itself or people's response to it and the up and down of the infection rates in different states. All of my friends in California are going to be virtual this fall. And so COVID is our opponent. And in the game of chess, you always have to be plotting, not the move you're making right now, but understanding that whatever move you make right now will impact your next move. So I'm hoping that all of us can take this opportunity to plot. I've been taking notes literally most of the day today about things that I want to be plotting for this season. And so I decided that it will be my actions and not my intentions that will really define who I am. People will always say, I intended to do this or I intended to do that. But at this juncture, people really need us to stop intending and just plot and do. And so I decided that rather than be critical, rather than tear down ideas that are coming forth, I would put forth some ideas that I think could help parents, can help teachers, can help school districts. But I also decided I would be just intentional in doing some very practical things. I love when people can give me practical applications of whatever it is that I'm doing. And so for me, some of the things that I'm thinking about in terms of my own plotting is how I can be helpful and not harmful. I decided I was going to take my own version of the Hippocratic oath that doctors take. First, do no harm. So the first thing I'm going to do is pledge that I want to do whatever I can to be helpful and not harmful to children, to schools, to administrators, to families, and to my colleagues. And so that's my first thing, is I'm going to be helpful and not harmful. Then I started plotting, what are some things I can do for parents? Starting with parents that I know. And so one of the things I've committed, if you're all looking for ideas that you can do, particularly if you don't have children who are in school districts, who are school age, or you have adult children, I've committed that a couple of days a week, I'm going to give my grandson's mother a mental break and supervise virtually his online learning. I'm going to come on and help her navigate, allow her to do her job, so that when I have some downtime, I'm going to schedule with intentionality my lunch breaks to be able to go on and help my grandson navigate, which gives her a mental break but keeps him mentally focused, and it gives him a break from her always in his ear telling him what he's not doing. So that's one of the things you can do. You can agree to go on and supervise some virtual learning and help encourage those kids to get on and do their lessons, whatever grade level they're in. That's what I'm going to do for some parents. I'm going to start with my own grandson's mother. What can we be doing for students? I'm going to corral the kids in my neighborhood, because most people know that I love kids, and I live in a cul-de-sac that has like a circular thing. And so I've got about 8 or 9 kids in my circle, and then the street over. So I'm going to probably convene over, which is in walking distance, a kickball game for kids, socially distanced, twice a week until it gets cold. Even if it's raining, because kids love to play in the rain, and we never give them that opportunity. At school, when it rains, we cancel recess. Unless it's thundering and lightning, we're going to go out in the rain. We're going to play kickball at least twice a week. Giving the kids and their parents a break and a physical activity that they can do. We're going to call it community physical education. That's what I'm going to do for parents in my neighborhood. And really, it's for the students. I want to have an opportunity, because kids give me life, to just do something. For teachers, right now, in my district, our administrators go back next week. And so for the administrators that I care about, that I'm really close to, I'm planning some special treats for them, even though it will be virtual stuff that I'm going to do for them. I spent the whole day plotting out some things I want to do for principals that I care about as they get prepared to go back to school. They don't have to be things that cost money. Some of mine cost money. Some of them are not. Some of them are virtual gifts that I intend to send to my principals as they come back to school. For my teachers, I intend to, a couple of times a week, do some just check-ins with teachers that I know. It's stressful. I'm going to be checking on teachers. That's the other group that I intend at least once a week for a couple of my friends who are teachers, to give them time by supervising their kids doing their work, so that they can focus on the kids that they're teaching, to give them that break and really become like a virtual tutor or virtual babysitter. But I really don't want to babysit. I really want these kids working, and so helping to supervise their online learning. And so that's an opportunity for me to engage some of the children of teachers who are friends of mine. And so I'm gonna take that opportunity. I'm gonna encourage the people in the community who are picking up the ball and helping to support our kids, whether they're in nonprofits or whether they're in churches, if it's a church, sending pastors a note, thanking them for agreeing to step up and be a place where kids and families can get support, whether it's from food or place where kids can come after school, whatever folks are stepping up to do, remembering to send them notes. Those are just some practical things that we can do, that we can be intentional about being a part of the solution. Now, this is going to be hard for me, because one of the things that I treasure most is my time alone. I don't really like engaging a whole lot, but I'm going to make myself uncomfortable. The late Ruby Dee said, she had a quote that said, "God, make me so uncomfortable that I will do the very thing that I fear." Sometimes people don't know this, but I don't really do a lot of interaction outside of my work interaction, because it's just not my comfort zone. And so I'm going to step out of that and really reach out to the groups that I've talked about. I'm going to send the high-level officials in my school district gifts to start off the school year, and acknowledge that even when I don't agree, I know that it's tough to sit in those seats, and that even in disagreement, I still support them. And so I'm going to send them gifts. Those are some of the things that I think that I'm going to be intentional about. And I'm going to share with you what I shared with my friend, who she said, T, I feel bad because I'm just so angry. And I'm not in that situation because, you know, I have adult children. And so I said to her, it's okay to feel angry. I said, right now I'm feeling love, you're feeling angry. And so I gave her the quote by Lena Horne that said, don't be afraid to feel as angry or as loving as you can. Because when you feel nothing, it's just death. So I just want to encourage you in this season, even if you don't have children, this is a hard time for communities all across this country. Be intentional to do something. Don't just intend to do it, because it will be your actions and not your intentions and thoughts that will tell people who you are. Be intentional. Be helpful and not harmful. Find something to do that will make the lives of other people better. I'm the amazing T Street, but I can assure you there's absolutely, positively nothing amazing in me that's not in each and every one of you. In this season, I challenge you to walk out your own amazing with intentionality. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Coffee with T.